Most Germans will hit 100,000 euros, 500,000 euros, and 1 million euros at some point in their lives, but almost nobody knows exactly when. And the gap between when you think you'll get there and what the data actually shows is massive. That gap is precisely where most people lose years of wealth building, without even realizing it. Today we're going to break down the exact ages when the average German reaches each of those 3 milestones. The real numbers might surprise you, they might frustrate you, but more importantly, they'll show you precisely where you stand and what you can do to get ahead of the curve. Let's start with the foundations. According to the Bundesbank's 2023 panel on household finances, Germany's most comprehensive wealth survey, the average net wealth per household sits at around 324,800 euros. Sounds decent, right? But this is the classic trap of mean figures. The median, the figure right in the middle of the entire distribution, is actually just 76,000 euros in real, inflation-adjusted terms. That means a small group of ultra-wealthy families drags the average up dramatically, while the typical German household has far less than the headline number suggests. The difference between mean and median matters more than most people realize. If 9 people have 50,000 euros and 1 person has 5 million euros, the average is nearly 540,000 euros, but the person in the middle still only has 50,000 euros. That's closer to reality for most Germans. According to Bundesbank data, households headed by someone under 25 have a median net worth of just 11,400 euros. Through the late 20s and early 30s, that figure climbs, but slowly. And it's only in the 45 to 74 age bracket that median net wealth reaches anywhere between 154,700 euros and 231,000 euros. That tells us the 100,000 euro milestone for the average German typically arrives in the late 30s, later than most people expect, and far later than finance influencers would have you believe. But here's why this milestone matters so much. This is the point where compound growth starts doing serious work. At a 7 to 8% annual return, 100,000 euros generates roughly 7,000 to 8,000 euros in growth every single year, like receiving an invisible pay rise that never stops. And it only accelerates from there. Even in the 45 to 74 age group, median net wealth only sits between 154,700 euros and 231,000 euros. That means the majority of Germans never reach 500,000 euros across most of their working lives at all. So who does get there? Overwhelmingly, it's homeowners. And this is the central fault line of wealth in Germany. The median net wealth of a renting household in Germany is just 10,400 euros, compared to 277,000 euros for an owner-occupier household, a gap of nearly 27 times. German homeowners hold on average 7 times more net wealth than renters. And despite being a minority, they collectively own around 86% of total private wealth in the country. But here lies Germany's specific paradox. The homeownership rate in Germany stands at just 47.2% as of 2024, making it one of the countries with the lowest homeownership rates and the largest rental markets in Europe. More than half the population is therefore swimming against the current in the wealth accumulation race, compared to those who own property. This is the milestone most Germans never reach, or only approach at the very tail end of their working lives. Based on 2021 data, only the wealthiest 10% of households in Germany held net wealth of 725,900 euros or more. And this group controls around 56% of total national wealth. The pension system, what many Germans rely on to bridge the gap, tells a sobering story. By the end of 2024, the average old-age pension for women was just 955 euros per month, compared to 1,405 euros per month for men, a difference of nearly one-third. Germany's gender pension gap stood at 26% in 2024, still above the OECD average of 23%. This gap stems largely from the mandatory earnings-related pension scheme, and it's compounded by career breaks for caring responsibilities, part-time work, and lower lifetime wages. The cumulative effect of those earlier gaps hits hardest at exactly the moment it matters most. Retirement. A 2026 study by WHU Otto Beisheim School of Management found that German retirees spend an average of €3,148 per month, but only have current income of €2,988, meaning many start retirement already in deficit. These numbers describe what happens when people do what most people do. But you don't have to follow that path. If you hit €100,000 at 33 instead of 38, you've just bought yourself 5 extra years of compounding. At 7% annual returns, that gap alone could mean over €200,000 more by the time you reach 60. Germans have a structural advantage that often goes ignored. The German pension system consists of 3 pillars: the statutory state pension, occupational pensions, and private retirement savings. Yet most employees only think about the first pillar because contributions are automatic. Neglecting the other 2 creates a real gap, especially when the state pension replaces only around 48% of pre-retirement income on average. On top of that, products like the Restaurant or early investment into index ETFs, even an additional €200, €300 per month, can generate hundreds of thousands of euros in difference over several decades through the power of compound growth. The question isn't whether you'll get there. It's when. And that depends entirely on the decisions you make right now.